Hey everyone, this is Leslie from Ethereal Aeons Activation. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, glad you found your way here. Today, we're going to talk about matrix enforcers because it seems like we are living in a society that is 99% matrix enforcers. You can also reference this term more popularly known as matrix agents or handlers. There's different levels to it. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, because I'm just going to start with like how it works with a very simple example. So let's say we have like a woman, right? So let's say we have a mother and she wakes up at 6 a.m. First thing she does is she turns on the TV and she watches the news. And let's say like breaking news. Today we have severe weather alert. Look out for whatever. Look out for high winds, for rain. By the time this woman goes to work, gets out of the elevator, and sits in her cubicle, she has probably already let her kids know about the severe weather, her husband, her barista, like her group text. She's talked to the guy in the elevator about it. And now she's sitting down in her chair at work. And everyone around her has probably done the same thing. And everyone in the high rise where she works has probably done the same thing. So this is what we call the hive mind. Today, they're talking about possible severe weather. And then the next day, it could be something else. It doesn't matter. What these people are, when you're talking about the hive here, what these people are consumers. They're lifetime consumers of the information being put out by the orchestrators of the archon encrypted reality, or what people call the matrix. Okay, they are consumers and they are regurgitators of this information. That is their job. So while we have enforcers who are public figures, and they're people that that you see in movies, on TV, on your phones, whatever, those are a different type. And then we have the ones working behind the scenes who are orchestrating everything, and like the puppeteers. Those are more like the interdimensionals, and those are more, then there's even higher ups. But we're going to talk about the enforcers who just seem to be normal people. They are your neighbors. They are your family, friends, coworkers, everybody you've known growing up, because this hive isn't just like, it doesn't like to exclude anyone. And so in this reality, there are only two types of people. They are the individuals who are lucid, awake. They see what's going on. They can tell the hive, they can sense it, they feel it, they know it, they've awakened to it. And then there are the individuals who are completely dormant and still asleep and still partaking in the hive activities. Now, there are like a little in between, like some people kind of wake up, sure, they're aware of this, they kind of get some sort of, spiritual relief here and there. Maybe they do some yoga, maybe they're into certain things like this. But ultimately, like, who do you wake up as every day? Like, are you always on that mission to remain lucid? Are you always on that mission to spiritually continue evolving yourself so that you can evolve past all of this, right? And the name of the game here is spiritual sovereignty. So is this something that you're always working towards? And if the answer is yes, then regardless of where you're at and what circumstance you find yourself in, you're already ahead of the game here. Because ultimately, when you're dealing with a system like this, like a beast system like this, it is a game, because everything around you is a charade. Everything around you is intended to get your attention so that you can receive the information they're bringing to you, because we are so very powerful. Everything that gets funneled through us, that we acknowledge, whether it's through our thoughts or our emotions, gets energetically charged. Okay, so we breathe life into things because we are the divine sparks. We have that divine power. We are reality creators, so we can actually create things to life, including headlines. And the thing is, like, you can tell a matrix enforcer because they will always protect the institutions, even when the media calls bluff, even after they figured out that there's no rainstorm, that there's no severe weather, even even after it was just a light drizzle for 10 minutes, all those people will still say, well, at least we were warned. It could have been serious. It could have been really bad, but at least it wasn't, right? And that's how this insanity continues. It's a mass brainwashing. And so to answer the question, the enforcers are basically 99% of the population, because no matter how subtle that may seem, those subtleties work in the same way that subliminal messaging works. And although subliminal messaging can literally be a giant billboard plastered in the middle of Times Square, you'd be like, well, that's not very subtle. But it could just say like 2 words, and those words get imprinted in you. And words and letters and the way you speak is a lot more magical than what you've been told. So every word you speak, every letter has its own energy signature. Every time you express a vowel, every time you verbalize a vowel like A, E, you're literally creating a torus with that vowel. And this torus creates its own unique pattern. So I think like an A is a spiral motion. And that is a energy signature. And this energy signature, okay, through your larynx, through your vocal cords, through the chambers that they resonate out of when you speak, it's like a speaking apparatus. Through that vowel is then sent out, and it leaves this construct. Okay, it's a scalar wave. So it goes into the infinite cosmos. It goes into like the 0 point. And it is transmuted out there. So every word you speak can be heard in the infinite cosmic planes. So when I say that they want you to repeat what they're saying, it's because of that. But humanity doesn't really get this. And science has caught up to it. Like this was all, what I just said is backed up by their science, which is a spiritless science, but whatever. It is what it is there. We don't take that too seriously. So when people are out there repeating these things, and even if you ignore it, it's still penetrating through your field. And so that's why I say that the enforcers are everywhere. Because tell me one person you come across today, unless it's like somebody who's a fellow divine spark, right? But we probably don't have that many awakened divine sparks in our personal lives. It's just the way it is here. But tell me one person that it's like they don't have a conversation that's outside of the programming that has been consumed from what the enforcers have put out. Why do you think people only talk about what they've been programmed to process? It's always going to be the same conversations because there is a limitation, there is a cap in their consciousness, which means they are asleep. If there's a lack in the consciousness, there is a lack going on in the energy centers as well. So these lifetime consumers of the matrix are just going to be stuck in this pattern for their entire life. And so that's who the enforcers are. Does that make them inherently evil? Some might be, most aren't. They're just stuck in a loop, asleep. Is there like hope for them? Of course, there's hope for some of them, but most of them are dormant. They are dormant to their infinite nature. So all that leaves them with is like the physical, dense reality. They're obsessed with the physicality, which cuts them off of anything higher. And they can be really nice. They can be pleasant, but you have to understand we're all sponges. We're all soaking up each other's energy fields. Like anytime you're near someone, you are being the light lattices, your light lattices are meshing with theirs. And so if you've got any infiltrations of your own, you got to be careful who you're associating with that way, and especially romantically. A lot of these agents are going to try and come into your life when you're waking up to try and slow you down. The number one way they can do that is by trying to win over your heart. Is that not? Everyone goes through that. You know, if you're watching this and this makes complete sense, add to it. There's a lot more that goes on. This is just a tiny slice of the cake. I thought it was like a good way to just put out how big their network is. And so, you know, if you're not wanting to be a part of that and people are uncomfortable with it, which they will be very uncomfortable with it, they're not going to understand why you're not about it anymore. It's all good because it's easier that way to see who is supposed to be in your life and who's not, because it can be really confusing at first. So I'm fully aware of that. And that's the type of people that I like to work with. These are the type of people that, you know, come to my channel are people who are awake, but they're still in the middle of a hive. And they're still in the middle of their matrix script as well, which is basically the identity given to you through your social conditioning, through what you're plugging into, through all of this. So just because you're awake doesn't mean you're out. That's step one. Okay. After that comes all of the deprogramming, deplugging, transmutation process, your exit plan, and really, what is it that you're here to do? And sometimes it can be really hard to tune into that because there's so many frequencies coming your way, which is something we didn't even talk about. We didn't even talk about the subtle frequencies that are being sent out. We didn't talk about the engineering going on within the human body, within the human vessel these days. It's just radical. It's crazy. We didn't even bother talking about like social media or anything like that. That's just a given now. And if you can't snip one out, then you still gotta tune your senses. Because after a while, it's like you just need 2 seconds, just 2 seconds. But it's a pretty comprehensive network that they have. But you definitely do have to remove yourself for extended periods of time to be able to just feel what it's like to not be in their grids, to just be able to get some time to yourself. It's just so overwhelming to be in their system. And I remember, I don't often remember, it feels like a long time ago, but it's a serious thing. So I feel you if you're dealing with any of that, if you're dealing with not only just the main populace of agents, but if you're being attacked with, you know, the gang stalking, all of that stuff going on, that's just part of it as well. Okay. So what is what is it that you really want out of this information? Do you just want to keep hearing it over and over too? Or do you want to start creating something for yourself that's beyond all of this? Because before you can blast out of this place, right, you have to blast out of the hive first. And then you still have to navigate your way towards spiritual sovereignty. But for now, if you'd like any more guidance on any of this, I am available. Check out the links in my description. If you'd like to add on to this, there's a lot more to all of this, but I want to keep this video short for now. And yeah, check out the links in my description. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and share with somebody. I'm sending you so much gratitude, sending you a lot of love, and I will see you in the next one.